Welcome back, ladies and gents, to the Championship Wrap. I am Eloise Sawyer, as always, joined with Andrew Henderson. Hendo, thanks for coming back yet again to give us great insight into the game of rugby league and, of course, the Championship.
Thank you very much, Eloise. I'm looking forward to today to cover the Summer Bash. Fantastic event, again, that was hosted by the RFL there over at Bloomfield Road in Blackpool. Well attended again, I think over 15,000 fans in attendance over the weekend, which was fantastic for the Championship. And we saw some spectacular games, some scintillating tries, some huge hits, including one from your fella Darcy Lussey. But it was a really, really good festival of rugby league, some fantastic action, and great to see the coverage that was given to the Championship over the weekend.
It certainly was fantastic. I managed to get down there on Saturday. It certainly was a great atmosphere, and of course it did start off with the top of the table clash between Toronto and Toulouse. Now, obviously, Toronto are looking for revenge after going down significantly back a few earlier round over there in France, and they did quite a good job in doing so.
They did a fantastic job, Eloise. I thought, in terms of their game management, the game plan that they executed, they were dominant from start to finish. Chase Stanley gets a hat-trick of tries, even a try for Darcy Lussey, which was an impressive try. Toulouse, I think they came in with a lot of hope and expectation that they could deliver a performance.
They certainly came out hard in the second half, that's for sure. They certainly didn't put their heads down at any point.
Absolutely, but I just thought Toronto, with ball in hand, looked very slick. They were clinical in their execution and defensively really fronted up there against a very good Toulouse side. And as you said, they exacted revenge on a disappointing performance that they had over there in the south of France early in the season. But fantastic result and performance from the Wolfpack.
Up next was, of course, Rochdale going down to Swinton Lions, 30-40 over 30, rather. Now, Rochdale were in control of this game, and it was much of a surprise in the end that they didn't come away with this, considering how strong they started. Yeah,
disappointing there for the new coach, Matt Callan, and there's certainly encouraging signs for Rochdale in the last couple of weeks.
It looks like they're building.
Absolutely. They pushed York last week really, really close. Like I said, they've gone there into the Summer Bash, performing really well, scoring 30 points. They haven't been able to do that all season, so to score 30 points was phenomenal for their point of view, but disappointing that they conceded 40 in the end. But it was an unbelievable last sort of 25 minutes from Swinton, wasn't it? Mike Butt scoring 4 tries, fantastic for him, and that was a huge, huge result because, as we know, both of those teams are in the dogfight for relegation at the moment. It was almost a 4-pointer that game for either team, but it was a really, really good result there for the Swinton Lions.
Well, another surprising, I guess, result over the weekend, you could say. I certainly did put my money behind Featherstone this one. You had tipped York, but Featherstone ran away 42-10, which I think may have surprised many people that they're in the stands at Blackpool, just given where York have been this season. But Featherstone, it really looks like with Dane Chisholm coming into the side, it's been an injection of life, and it's really starting to come together. Yeah, look, that was a really impressive performance from the Featherstone Rovers. And I think, like I said, going into the game, I think, you could have said either team were good enough to win the game. You wouldn't have said, it was definitely going to be Featherstone. Both at the top of the table. Or definitely going to be York. I mean, I tipped York, you tipped Featherstone. It could have gone either way. But I think it's the manner in which they won the game. I thought they were really dominant from start to finish, Featherstone. And as you rightly pointed out there, Dane Chisholm, again, very pivotal, very instrumental in a lot of the good work. He's building a good partnership up there with Tom Holmes in the halves. It was definitely a fantastic day for the Featherstone Rovers. And last but not least, on Saturday was Halifax 21 over Bradford 14. Now, this was a Challenge Cup quarterfinal dress rehearsal. You had tipped Halifax to run away with this one, and I did, in fact, tip Bradford. But it looks like Scott Morrell, he really turned one on for Halifax and inspired his side that week.
Well, he did. Scott Morrell had a fantastic, certainly second half performance. And the Bulls led 14-12 at half time. I thought, to be honest, though, it was a little bit harsh on Halifax, the scoreline at half time. I thought they were really good in that first half, and I thought we were in control for large parts of that first half. Second half, obviously, they came out, and like you said, Scott Morrell, he really just inspired his teammates. He lifted another level and managed to help them come home. I do think that Bradford are going to reverse it when it comes to the Challenge Cup, but like I said, good result for them.
Well, let's take a look at a great montage package of all of the games on the Saturday at the Summer Bash.
Summer Bash in 2019 is underway. That's McCrone. O'Brien sees a gap. Can he get through it? Gareth O'Brien. Jonathan Ford and Carella's pass. They could be in and they are in. And over the top, another classy try. It's It's Nick Rawsthorne who goes in.
Yeah, it was good. I thought first half defensively we were pretty good. We wanted to be good, we were good, and we're delighted to get away with a win.
Wolfpack's on fire! No defence is terrified! Wolfpack's on fire!
Chasing after it, Levesque still can he get hold of the ball? He can, and that's a brilliant kick and chase from Bobby Levesque. A wide long goal, and it's intercepted, and it could be here for Swinton on a plate now by Matty Ashton. Matty Ashton will score for Swinton, and that surely now should wrap up the game.
Oh, massive! You know, Swinton are the biggest club, and but I tell you what, the fans have got the biggest heart, and yeah, they're a massive part of our club.
Intercepted, Dave Chisholm, and he's going to get there. Dave Chisholm. Yes, he is. Team B in the corner, and it's Perry Whiteley who gets a consolation try.
Yeah, it's good, mate. It's great to see so many people here supporting, and you know, what a great occasion for Championship Rugby League. You know, they follow us everywhere, and you know, without them, you know, I don't think we could do it. They're so vocal, they're so passionate, and it's great to be on board.
Yes, we are ready, ready! Hoo-ha, hoo-ha, hoo-ha!
Going to the left-hand side, Foggy Johnston goes for the corner. Well, that could be a sensational try. Now an opportunity down the middle for QLD. Ball inside, and Morris will score. That was brilliant, incisive play by Halifax.
Massive, obviously Bradford a quality team. They had a lot of possession first half, though. Two quality teams, and I thought just did enough tonight. You see me in training, I don't get many, but tonight it's stuck, and just a great win for the boys. When you're behind you, it's unbelievable. It gives you that extra leg to go, get that win for them, but yeah, it's unbelievable. Seeing their dancing behind them.
Well, Hendo, the excitement from the Saturday definitely continued in on to the Sunday, and it kicked off with Barrow Raiders up against Sheffield Eagles, and Sheffield Eagles came away with the points here, 30-18, and they were actually trailing at half-time, so it's a great effort from them.
Yeah, look, they had to turn it around. Obviously, you know, Barrow had the wood on them on the first half, their performance. I thought Barrow, you know, at the end of the day, they've been under a lot of pressure in recent weeks, Barrow. You know, they've been fighting to get that result. They haven't been at their best. And I thought they gave a really good account of themselves in that first half. But Sheffield, just that second half, I think, just showed their class, stepped it up when they had to. From their standards, probably not the best overall performance from them, but they showed enough in that second half through Anthony Thackeray and his team to get the result there.
Up next was Batley 30 over Dewsbury 14. Now, similar situation here for Dewsbury. Their tries came in the last sort of final minutes of the game, sort of made it look a little bit more respectable, but Batley were well and truly in control of this game throughout the entire 80 minutes.
Absolutely. Well, I spoke about it last week leading into the game. You know, I really felt that Batley were going to win this one. I felt that Dufresne and Brambini would orchestrate the win, and didn't they do that? I thought their two halves really took control of that game for Batley. You know, Big Michael Ward was impressive up front for them as well. He really led from the front. James Brown, I thought, proved a handful and disrupted that Dewsbury defensive line throughout the day. Sam Smeaton had a good shot there on, I think it might have been Michael Knowles at the back end. There was a bit of niggle in the game too. It was a real tasty derby affair.
Had everything there, rugby league fans.
It was great, but it was a really good contest. And but Batley, I thought, were really impressive, and they'll be really pleased with that result.
Last but not least, over the weekend was, of course, Leeds Centurions 36 over Widnes Vikings 22. Now, the crowd looked absolutely incredible on TV for these Leeds Centurions fans. They were going wild for this one. And I think this is certainly well deserved for Lee, and they certainly are climbing up the table. They're now sitting in 4th position, and it was a bit surprising that there was such a big scoreline over Widnes.
Well, look, I thought Lee were outstanding. I mean, it was a great game, like I said. And I think the two sets of fans need to be given some credit, because I thought to finish the Summer Bash, it was not only a great fixture, but I thought both sets of fans, you know, came in and really embraced it. And it was a real good contest early doors, nip and tuck, and then Lee just sort of really got into gear. Some fantastic fantastic tries scored, and they blew away to a 30-6 lead at one point. You know, but credit to Widnes, because at 30-6 down, they looked dead and buried out of the game, and it was Danny Craven that turned the tide for them. He really stepped up, and he's a quality player, is Danny, and I thought he did a great job in injecting himself into the game, and he had to. Scored a couple of tries and was had a hand in a few others, and got Widnes back to within 8 points. It was 30 points to 22, and it was quite a nervy end of the game there. I think you could see the pressure starting to mount on Lee, that they could see the game was slipping, but then they managed to get that last try in the end just to seal. I think McNally gets the game clincher just to seal it. So fantastic game for the neutral.
Great way to end the Summer Bash.
Great game to end the Summer Bash, absolutely. And I know we're going to go and have a look at the highlights now of this day 2 to finish off the game.
Chip kick across, they're going to compete from the corner. The ball could be the first try, and it's a try for Jared Stack. Right hand side, and there's a break here for Thackeray. Big step, can he reach out and score? He can.
Yeah, it was good. Obviously that second half was much better than the first half. Obviously scoring a couple of tries is nice, but the win was really important today for us.
League this year. We need to personally as a team build some consistency. Whoever we play, we just need, after a sloppy start, we need to kick on now this second half of the year. Yeah, it's a great concept. It's ace what fans love it. Just hope this last game's really good as well.
That was Luluai, the step there from Danny Craven. He left the lead defence for dead. Hyam fires the pass to Woods, and Woods holds on. And it's a really nice pass. And Greg McNally might have just won this one for the Leigh Centurions. His second try sparks delirium in Blackpool.
Yeah, massive win. I thought we were really good first half. You know, to concede one try, and we knew Widnes would come back out, have a real go at us. But again, we had a period where we were under the pump, but we come through at the end, and I thought overall just got a just reward. Massive win for us. It really gets us back up where we want to be. So we'll enjoy this one, and but again, we're going to back it up now with a tough one at Toulouse away next week. Oh, unbelievable! You can hear it now. It's still going. You know, this is what it's about. It's great to see the championship, you know, buzzing like this, and really got to build on this now. It's a great concept. We're still rocking, you know, they're going to be in Old Blackpool all night, so I've not witnessed as well. Brought thousands, so brilliant atmosphere and a brilliant game to finish it off. 2019 Summer Bash, done.
All right, Hendo, let's take a look at the fixtures for round 15. We're over halfway through this season, which is quite remarkable. Given where we are at the moment, it kicks off on Friday. It's Sheffield, who are third place in the table, up against Toronto. I think you know where my tip's going with this one. Yep. I'm going to go for Toronto. I think Brian McDermott's really building something special there this year. And I really feel like they're on the cusp of potentially getting to Super League. It's a big call, but I really feel like they're in the place right now.
Yeah, look, I agree with you. I just think in recent weeks, I think Toronto looked a bit clunky early in the season. I think that's probably just coming to terms with the new coach, new systems, way of doing things. But I certainly, in the recent weeks, I think they've just stepped up another gear now. I think they know now they're starting to build towards the back end. I think we've seen a lot of big improvements in individuals and as collectively as a team. And I see a Toronto win again. But Sheffield, they're a team that have got some quality players in there. We know that they can unlock some of the best defences in the competition. So I'm sure they'll have a game plan to probably slow down the tempo of the game and stifle the opposition to some degree. Whether it's going to be enough to get the result, I'm not so sure, but I'm tipping a Toronto win.
On Saturday, it kicks off with Toulouse hosting Lee. Now, this is going to be a great matchup, just given where these two teams are at the moment. Toulouse bouncing off a loss, Lee coming off a great win at the Summer Bash and really finding their way at the moment. And I'm going to tip a Toulouse win just because it is at home. And I think, given how coming off a loss, it'll be out to sort of turn the tables around and get one back.
Yeah, I think we've seen Toulouse at home this season. They've been
remarkable.
Been at their best at home, haven't they? They've been phenomenal, really, and on fire. And I think that the manner in which they lost to Toronto was a bit of a reality check as well. I'm thinking that will bring them back down to earth a little bit. A nice reminder that actually, we've still got a fair bit of work to do here. I'm expecting a response from them. I think Sylvain Hules will get his men geared up for a good performance. I don't think it's going to be a blowout score by any means. I think the Centurions will put a lot of pressure on Toulouse, but I think Toulouse will have enough just to get across the line.
On Sunday, it kicks off with Barrow up against Rochdale, 13-14, both at the bottom of the table. This could be a real arm wrestle.
It will be.
And I'm going to go with a Barrow.
Going to go for a Barrow victory.
Barrow victory.
Interesting. Okay.
Yep.
I'm going to go against you. I'm going to go with Rochdale. I just think
I can see that they'll come very close.
I think the last couple of weeks, albeit the new coach has only been in place for a couple of weeks and they haven't won as yet. I think he's brought a few new fresh faces into the team, which is probably just giving them a bit of energy at this time of the year, which they need. Barrow, for me, again, albeit they showed some improvement in their performance on the weekend, I still don't think I've seen enough recently to get the job. They're at home, so that'll bode well for them. But I'll tell you what, it's going to be a real humdinger, isn't it? Because both teams are desperate and both teams need that win.
I want to get off the bottom.
So it'll be interesting, but I'm going to go Rochdale.
Batley up against Halifax, and just given where Halifax are at the moment, they're coming off that big win, 3 from 3 since the new coach has taken over, Simon Griggs. I'm going to go with the Halifax win here to continue that momentum and get the ball rolling.
Yeah, I'm going to go against you.
Okay.
I'm thinking Batley at home. I think off the back of the result, I thought that was been their best performance of the season against Dewsbury on the weekend. I think they're going to lift off the back of this. They're back at home now. I think they're going to go into this game with confidence. I think probably Halifax, they've been on a good run, but are probably due a loss now. I'm not sure whether they're going to maintain and keep that going. And I just think that's the way it's going to go.
This next one's a tough one for me. Featherston up against Bradford. I'm going to go with the Bradford win. It is at home at Featherston's LD Nutrition Stadium, but I'm going to go with the Bradford win. I think we've seen a lot of confidence from that squad, just given after that Challenge Cup win with Leeds. I just think that they've got it this week to perhaps upset Featherston at home.
Interesting. Well, I'm going against you again.
Okay.
I'm going to go. I think
someone's
Featherston,
keeping tabs.
Yeah. No. Look, I'm going to go with Featherston at home. I just think we've seen some real improvement in their performances in recent weeks. I think, like you said, they're a team that are going under the radar and they're starting to find some form at the right time. I think, like you said, they understand now what the head coach is looking for. I think they're getting more used to the systems and the structures. I think Dane Chisholm and Tom Holmes are building a really good partnership there in the halves. I just think at home they're going to be too strong for the Bradford Bulls.
Up next, Swinton Lions up against Dewsbury. This is a close one. They're both at the bottom of the table, 11 versus 10. I'm going to go with the Swinton win, given they're at home, and I think they've got what it takes.
Yeah, I think so too. I'm going to go with you on that one. I'm going to agree with you on that one, Eloise. I think Swinton at home, I think they'll be buoyed off the back of the way that, the manner that they came back in that game against Rochdale. I just think against Dewsbury, for me, who have just been very indifferent, I think they're going to go there expecting to win. However, I just think Swinton are going to spoil the party and get the result. Last
but not least is Widnes Vikings hosting York City Knights, and my tip here is with Widnes. They've played each other a couple of times in the last several weeks. They've sort of had on and off, one's won, one's didn't. I'm going to go with a Widnes win here as well, just given they're coming off a loss to Lee. I think they've played York a couple of times. I get video on them.
Game, this one.
I think Widnes.
This for me is the match of the round. For a few reasons. York are coming off the back of a loss.
So to a Widnes.
Yeah, Widnes, but Widnes's form in this past sort of month, 4 or 5 weeks, hasn't been at its best. They've suffered a number of losses. I think they realise now they're in a battle because the bottom line is they're on 4 points. They're nowhere near away from safety at the moment, and I think that realisation is probably going to start to sink in, that they need to start to lift their performance levels. I think Widnes are going to get this one, but I think they're going to be facing a very dogged York side who are going to be determined to turn around the disappointment, because they're not used to losing in the manner that they did on the weekend. I thought Featherston were so dominant and clinical against the York City Knights, and we've not seen that from York this season. So I think they'll be determined to turn that around, but I think the Vikings are just going to have enough quality on the day just to nick it.
Well, only time will tell, Hendo. Thanks so much for your time here in the Championship Wrap, and thanks so much to you guys at home tuning in on the Our League app. We will be back next week to preview all of what's happened in round 16 and, of course, talk about round 17.